feedback, really, really important. My name is Mark Jenkinson. I'm a VCE media teacher at Our Lady of Mercy College, which is an all-girls Catholic school in Melbourne. Did everyone get theirs back? So today I'm giving back their first assessment, which was a extended response on narrative, which is the first unit of study in Year 12. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you some general feedback that as a group we need to work on. Then we're going to go through each question. I'm going to give you an example of a good response and a not so good response. And then what you're going to do is you're going to swap sacks and actually assess each other based on the same criteria that I use and the examiners will use to mark your work. There's 3 different feedback forms I give in class. First, it's a teacher feedback, so it's a one-on-one discussion. It's also then peer feedback, which is what you'll see today, which is where the students assess each other's work based on that same criteria. And then also they have to do a reflection themselves on their strengths and weaknesses and what they need to do to improve their results. Don't be too disappointed if you didn't get the results you wanted this time. Think of this as, okay, this is a snapshot of where I am right now, but what we're going to do today is where can you improve? I've found in the past that if the students don't actually look at where they made mistakes or where they didn't get full marks, then there won't be any improvement. One of the things I really noticed, which was a shame, is that some of the mistakes, about 50% of the mistakes, were just because you didn't read all parts of the question correctly. And I think it's really important to do that straight after they've finished the assessment, so it's still fresh in their minds. And let's look at the criteria and see why that's a good response. In the opening sequence of Submarine, 2010, the mise-en-scene reveals to the audience the strained relationship between the characters. For the stronger students, it allows them to reinforce that what they're doing is correct. And even with those stronger students, push them to, there's more you can do, you can keep reflecting on your work. But the actual question was talking about how these production elements relate to its genre. So what is the genre of Incendies?
Thriller.
Thriller, what else? Drama, what else?
War.
It's a war film, yeah. So looking at the VCAR exam data from last year, I noticed that the extended response was the area that the students performed the weakest in, which is why the focus of this peer assessment is on the extended response. Are you happy just to swap with the person next to you? So if you put your head in the assessor's brain, which is what we're going to do today, you will actually be able to do better responses yourself. I think the peer-to-peer is really important, not just for the person who's being assessed, but for the assessor.
Your response would have been easier to read and easier for me to follow if you had have split it up into paragraphs, because I sort of got lost in the middle here.
This kind of activity is something that you have to develop over time. You can't just do this as a once-off.
I didn't give you very high for the knowledge because here you put her relationship with her father.
So after this lesson, the students will do a self-reflection piece where they'll probably identify their strengths and weaknesses.
For Laura's piece, for the criteria, which was has the student written responses that are clear and easy to read, I assessed her really high and well because her use of paragraphs are really consistent and spread out evenly.
You can give a high for that as well.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. It's the beginning of a year-long process of self-reflection, self-assessment, because ultimately these students will be by themselves in the exam, so they really need to have those skills in the exam to make sure they get the best result.
What feedback strategies do you use to ensure students understand what is required to make effective progress? What data do you use to support the delivery of feedback to students?